Good evening, everyone. I am Carla, the Cosmic Crone, and I am delighted to bring you the Gemini Full Moon Divine Feminine Dark Goddess astrology reading this evening. It's already dark. It's 6 o'clock now, but it's been dark since 4:30. So we are in that dark time of year here in the north, and where I live in the far eastern United States and the far northern United States, our days are very, very short, and our nights are very long right now. And it's an incredibly sacred time. The moon is gorgeous right now. Before I start talking about the astrology, I want to share with you something amazing about astronomy. The moon, the full moon, is conjunct Mars. They are within five minutes of each other at the moment of full moon. And what that means for certain segments of the planet at the time of, into the early evening, the hour or so on either side of the full moon tomorrow night, the moon will pass in front of Mars. This is called an occultation. And it's extraordinary to see if you live in a place where it's visible and you've got clear skies. See if you can look for that to happen, to watch that red planet disappear behind the moon and reappear several minutes to a few hours later, depending on the exact positioning. So it's going to be pouring rain here in Maine. I probably won't get to see it unless something shifts in the weather at the very last minute, which really bums me. I have observed an occultation of the moon and the planet Venus during the day. Very rare opportunity. It's thrilling. I love astronomy. That's one reason why I love astrology. I don't think they are mutually exclusive or mutually contradictory. I think astrology and astronomy serve each other. So where it will be seen: Western Europe, United Kingdom, Scandinavia, a little chunk of Africa around across from Gibraltar, most of the United States, almost all of Canada, the southeast of the United States will not have any occultation. New England will catch it, but like I said, we're raining up here tomorrow. So you'll, if you're interested in this, Google it, find out, will I be able to see the moon occult Mars tomorrow? Or actually not tomorrow, it will be on Wednesday, December 7th. And then find out what time in your location and where, just find out what you need to know to look for it. Because one of the beauties of our current astrology is that some of the biggest energy in the astrological chart is also visible in the sky. And that's thrilling to me. And I hope it's thrilling to you, because astrology is earth medicine. It's nature medicine. There's a whole lot of math involved in creating these charts. These charts have to do with calculations, literal calculations, not just what you see. What you see doesn't always agree with these calculations. And sometimes that's controversial, but I'm not going there now because I work in terms of readings. I work with the chart that I have in terms of my soul and my personal relationship to the energies of my relatives in the sky. I go with what I see, what I feel, as well as what's on here. So that's your little commercial break for astronomy. Now let's talk about astrology. The full moon is on where I live in Maine, December 7th at 11:08 p.m. So it's perfect to have the exact full moon when the moon is high in the sky and we can actually see it. Once again, it's being able to physically receive the energies and physically interact. And Mars will be right there. So whether or not you've got an occultation, it will be super, super close. And the moon is at 1602, Mars is at 1607, Gemini. And they are across the sky from the sun at 1602, Sagittarius, which is within 2 degrees of the Great Attractor. The Great Attractor is a mysterious point in the universe that we don't know what it is, but we do know where it is in terms of relative to the Earth. And we also know that it's pulling our galaxy and 100,000 or so other galaxies towards it. It is something vast. It is something dark, mysterious, veiled to our perception. We can only see its effect. And it's drawing things to it. It has that attracting void energy that we associate with the divine feminine. So it's a goddess point where I read. And the goddess point, the sun, will be sitting just passing today. Today the sun is with the goddess point. They are together, and then the sun will move to 15 and then to 16 over the next 2 days. And then Mars is going to be with the moon. And the moon, they're already close. The moon is about halfway between Jupiter and Mars if you have a clear sky and you can look. And by Wednesday night, the moon and the Mars will be like this. Maybe even, the moon may even cover Mars for a while. And while I don't know that that means anything, I mean, we can make anything mean anything, but it doesn't mean, we don't look at occultations, I don't think, in astrology. I've not seen it. But the conjunction is really important. Mars retrograding back through Gemini to meet the moon coming round at this particular moment of Gemini full moon. Gemini is air sign. It has to do with the intellect and the mind. It has to do with being able to see multiple perspective, because the twins are a polarity, a dichotomy. They're a split, even though they're mirror images of each other. So there may be a shade of projection going on. And Mars is that masculine, decisive energy. Mars is warrior, masculine. He has a lot to do with the sensuality and the eroticism of the masculine. But he also has to do with the capacity of masculine energy to make decisions, to evaluate the facts, or go with the gut even, devil take the facts, and say, I choose this, which means letting these other things go. So Mars, masculine energy, his sword, his weapon, includes discernment, cutting away the distractions, cutting away things that are not aligned, and cutting away things that are that would get in the way. Cutting down the enemy. And that can be, in Gemini, that enemy is usually in our own minds. So Mars retrograde, I've looked at it different ways. It's kind of mysterious to me, and when I tap in. I know when I read about it before on the day that he turned retrograde, and I picked up a certain energy, and honestly, you would have to go back and listen to that. But what I'm picking up now, especially with this moon and with his position relative to my chart, it really is about cutting away the things that are in the way, going to war in a strategic manner, willing to negotiate, but no holes barred, no corners cut. Very clear about the outcome that is desired and what needs to happen in alignment with that outcome, and what needs to go, what must not happen. So this is the energy that Mars may have for you, and depending on where your Gemini is in your natal chart, where your moon is, where the other energies that align with this Mars, that's where that decisive, evaluative energy. And this, because Mars is retrograde, it's looking at what's in the past. What from the past are you still dragging around with you? What from the past needs to be looked at really hard and some decisions made? These are the kinds of things that could be coming up for you. And like I said, where this is in your natal chart will give you a clue about where things are happening in your life. And if you have resistance, or you're busy and you're not taking time to integrate and pay attention, and it's just showing up as chaos or stuff or problems or things trying to get your attention, and it doesn't make sense. Divine Feminine Astrology, Dark Goddess, actually it's Dark Goddess Astrology now. I'm living in the past here for a minute. Dark Goddess Astrology can help. So consider a program. It's 2 astrology sessions with integration and deep dive into the material that comes up, because material comes up. And we can look and see, among other things, what is this Mars retrograde activating in your chart? What is this full moon activating? It's been fascinating to me working with clients this month, how many of them and us have something big, an ascendant, another planet connected to this moon and this Mars. There's a lot of action in the people in my world around the middle of Gemini. Some people, it's the moon is sitting on their sun. With me, it's sitting on my Vesta. So I'm tuning into this. And it's beautiful. It's Mars and the moon are beautiful together, because the moon is grandmother and she is the one who commands the warrior. This picture behind me, I didn't even realize that it has Mars in it, because it's a circle of women doing ceremony, raising a cone of power, womb energy, in magic and mastery, and sending that energy into the cosmos, sending it with intention so that it goes where it's meant to go. And in order for them to be able to focus on that, the masculine is at the 4 corners. The masculine energy, the warrior energy, could be males, could be females, but they are wielding drawn swords to protect, to keep out. So that's another warrior energy that shows up with Mars. We think about it in our world, Mars being the one that goes and does battle, being an aggressor. But he's also, and even more so, a protector, especially the warrior is used in the current world to protect the state, to protect the corporation, to protect the money, the power. In truth, in universal law, in divine plan, warrior energy is used to protect life and the life givers, the women, the children, the earth, the food. And there's that energetic protection of magic and the work that we women do, that we carry in our bodies. So this Mars retrograde meeting up with the full moon is a powerful reminder of how we can integrate that energy into our lives, how we can begin to speak it, teach it, require masculine energy to show up in this way in our communities and in the system. We are in the process of living a new earth, living a matriarchy instead of patriarchy, living partnership instead of domination. And that requires a level of awareness, a level of practice, and a level of being willing to speak out and let people know what we require of them. So Gemini being also ruled by Mercury as a sign that brings up communication. So it's a time for us to communicate and to gather the words. Words are also discerning. Words are creative. Words have a piercing, penetrating power. And sometimes words are given too much power at the expense or the ignorance of other powers. But we've got the power of the word and the intellect and the strategy at work in this chart, more than just with Mars. Because well, this is good. I just mentioned Mercury, so I'm going to talk about Mercury. Mercury happens to be sitting on my north node as of the full moon, passing over my north node, and also connecting with the planet Ixion. So Mercury, the one of electricity, communication, technology, speed, he has some energy around money, and especially with so much money being moved electronically, in the cashless society. But whether it's cash or whether it's electrons, in a spreadsheet, Mercury is connected to the way we move money and energy and communicate. These are all forms of communication. And so he's in early Capricorn. He's just entered Capricorn now. Connecting with Ixion. Ixion is a planet that refers to where we are. It's our deepest shadow, the part of ourselves that we think is so horrible, we completely suppress it. And Mercury is one that could trigger some Ixion action and reaction. It's coming out of nowhere because we don't know it's there. Unless we've done some serious healing work and shadow work, and then we have an idea, we can at least see the shape of the space, the silhouette of the shadow. So you may find at this full moon, with all the other stuff going on and Mercury connecting with Ixion, that things get out of hand, or things, you get really super triggered, or you don't understand what's happening because it's deep shadow material. Things you may feel, a lot of times if we're feeling shame or depressed or rage, the emotions come exploding, unmediated even. That can be a sign that something deep inside is being triggered. It's trying to communicate with us, trying to communicate with you. So notice that. And especially if the full moon is landing on a significant place in your chart, some other planets, or I've told a few of my clients, stay home, don't go anywhere on Wednesday. But, that could be a very bad idea too. So, you use your discernment. So, the moon and Mars and the great attractor in the sun are making a T-square to Nessus and Juno. Now, I talked about Nessus and Juno last week in a live stream, so scroll over and find that. But Nessus and Juno has to do with it picks up that Mars energy. It's a square, which means there's tension. There is action that is being called for, being demanded, and yet the way into that action, or the emotional energy, or the systemic problems, the systemic oppression may be keeping this energy from moving. So what's wanting to be moved? A shift in society towards what is truly good for women and children, because that is good for life. It is shifting the building block of society and economy and government and these things that they are part of our lives. Do we need them? We need them in one way or another, but they're not working for the majority of us the way we want them to right now. It's not matching up to divine feminine, sacred masculine values right now. And Juno is saying, line up your values. Put your money where your life is. And value all of the mothers and children of all of the species. Thank you, William McDonough. That was a good one. So valuing all of the mothers and children of all of the species, all of the humans, all of the races, all of the nationalities, all of the religions, all of the economic strata, all of the things that we use to separate us. Just consider them like the garments of individuality and variety and beauty that we wear. And realize that at the heart of it, we are the same, and valuing us and building a society that values each one of us is what this is all about. And it's what this is all about. And this full moon is bringing that into a place of tension that demands response and action. So that's what I'm going to say about that right now. And once again, other things are activated that give a slightly different color and yet amplify this energy that I've already described. One of them is a conjunction between Black Moon Lilith and Pallas Athene. That's that discerning intellectual strength, the power of our minds to solve problems, to bring forth new ideas, to be creative, and to be in alignment with our values, to be discerning, to be clear about what is true and accurate, and to know what's right for us. And Black Moon Lilith is the version of Lilith. This is her altar back here. It's the version of Lilith that reaches into the void, and through this lemniscate, this Mobius of her body, brings that void energy through her womb and into form. This is Black Moon Lilith. And she does that. And when it comes to relating to us personally, she shows us how to do that. And especially women, but not exclusively women, because we all have that Lilith and that feminine energy within us who does that creative, that aspect of the creative process. So you've got this power of creation and the power of your mind, the power of your words. Use them well. Look across the sky to the great attractor and the sun, to Venus and the galactic center. I'll come back to that one. And that conjunction, Pallas Athene and Black Moon Lilith, is opposite Pluto. So it's looking across the sky literally and saying, it's time for some things to die so that new things can be born. And we are dreaming that. We have the power, we humans, but with the energy of Pallas Athene and Black Moon Lilith in Cancer, the sign of home, the sign of womb, the sign of carrying, the sign of nourishment. So once again, we're saying it is time for society to shift its values and the individuals to be very clear on what they really want and how to get there and to work together. There are a few other things going on, but the one I'm going to talk about now is a grand earth trine. The demonized goddess Algol, whenever she shows up, that means it's time. It's past time. It's hold on to your hat and kiss your ass goodbye time. Unless you can get in alignment with her divine feminine energy, that dark goddess energy who was demonized, rejected as a culture, as a history. We have turned her into the devil. And those of us in the West like to identify other goddesses from other cultures as the demonized or the dark goddess. And those goddesses do have that fierce energy, but we're in danger of not understanding what it means because we're seeing it from the outside, not from the inside. So I say, look, and this is another time when astronomy helps, and certainly in the Northern Hemisphere in the autumn, because you've got, when the sun sets, you've got Algol in the high eastern sky. She's those constellations, the story of Perseus and the Eye of Medusa, the star Algol, the Lilith star, they're all, she's always represented the terrifying, destructive feminine. And so our work as human beings now is to reclaim that power, to recognize that that destruction is, first off, it has a purpose. Second off, the demonization of it is an outright lie. And I'm suddenly thinking about the volcanoes in Hawaii right now, Mauna Loa and Kilauea. They're erupting. But this is a birthing process. This is how new land is made. So recognizing that the demon goddess is like the volcano. It's terrifying, it's hot, it's fiery, literally fire from the deep earth, coming out to make new land. It's sacred. It's birthing. So that energy is trine. It's in a flow to Pluto, death and destruction and rebirth. These themes, they just keep going. And then to Ceres in Virgo. And this grand trine is like, it's stable. It's like the base of a pyramid. I had a client recently with a grand earth trine, and it was like balancing out a grand fire trine. Oops. Which was good. And, the danger of any trine is that you can dig a hole. It could drill right down into the earth and you could dig a hole and not be able to move. But if you can keep with the dynamism of a trine, you're plowing a field, you're planting, you're making a pot, you're building an adobe house, you are standing your ground, you are grounding your energy. So this grounds, this energy, there is transformative and kind of scary energy afoot in this chart, in this world. And that energy is grounded in the very earth herself. Ceres is holding down one angle of this triangle. The dark goddess, demonized goddess, Lilith star, Medusa, is holding down one, and the king of the underworld is holding down the other. So there could be a descent, a time for sinking into the earth. But think of it as a time for union with the earth, remembering the earth has a lot of knowledge. Do ceremony with the earth. Connect your feet, connect your body, connect your belly to the earth. Because you need that deep knowledge that is held there has to come up through you and show you how to deal with what's happening. Something is required of you now. And the earth can tell you about what that is. So Ceres is square, meaning, once again, there's some locked up energy there. Square the galactic center and Venus, who are both at 27 Sagittarius. And that is really so beautiful. The galactic center, the black hole at the center of our galaxy, another one of these extra solar system, but still in our galaxy, avatars of the dark goddess. And Venus is in a line, merging her energies with that. And it's fascinating that she should be here now because she's just completed her conjunction with the sun. And she is slowly, I think, at some point before Sagittarius is over, by solstice, I think we'll be able to see her as the evening star. She's still a little bit too close to the sun right now, but she is picking up this black hole energy as she prepares to be reborn, to emerge from her underworld journey as Inanna in her transformation from morning star to evening star. So she will be bringing this light, this black light of the galactic center into our eyes when we look at her. And do not underestimate the magic, the impact of that on our animal bodies, psyches, souls. So this full moon is one you get to look at. As you look at the sun during the day on Wednesday, or the next couple of days, know that you're looking towards the great attractor, that great mysterious point. And as you look at the moon and locate Jupiter and Mars, and then watch night by night as the moon gets closer and closer to Mars. Really beautiful. And you can look up in the sky and notice Cassiopeia. And just below Cassiopeia, and just above Mars, actually, Mars, as Mars is retrograding back into the constellation Taurus, which is different from the sign Taurus. But if you track up above that, you will run into Algol. She's a small star, not very bright, but you'll just know, you'll be looking in that general area if you look up above Pleiades and in that space high up in the sky. It's wonderful. You get to see and feel all of this. So go out and drink it in, and then spend time with yourself. Find quiet time, stillness, to listen to what all this is asking of you, what's coming up. That Ixion Mercury shadow work is, it's going to strike us all. So being aware, having someone you can talk to, at the very least having a journal, it all matters. So that is the Divine Feminine Dark Goddess astrology reading for now. And I look forward to working with some of you. I am booking for December and January now. So start your year with a deep dive into your natal chart and into what the sky is telling you right now. And working with these energies. Everything that I've talked about in this chart, I talk about for you personally in Dark Goddess astrology. And we go even deeper. We catch all the Liliths and, well, we just see what's happening for you. What is the message for you? So I'll put the link for you to book that in the comments. Have a blessed, blessed, beautiful full moon wherever you are.